car he tries, he regrets being satisfied with their teleportation scrolls and emergent supplies, which led him to agree and send them away. He proceeds to say that even though he contemplated his decision after they left, he was convinced by his comrade to trust them and stay calm. After that, he went to monitor the awakening program that Sangwoo also took part in. However, Sangwoo tells him that he would not have recognized him if he saw him because he was so chubby back then. Upon Jomo's inquiry, he tells that they had maintained contact with the team through teleportation scrolls for a month, which led him to believe that everything was fine. After a month, when the team had covered about 40 kilometers of distance, they went to the entrance of Odin's tower to connect with them. However, when they established the connection, they received a report of an ambush by an unknown monster, resulting in significant damage to their team. Suddenly, the portal opened in front of them and a team member emerged severely injured. This distressing sight left Wontae stricken with remorse and plagued by regret over his decision to grant them permission to undertake the perilous journey. After the injured team member entered the portal, it closed immediately, making them feel increasingly worried about the well-being of their team. With the telepathy still connected, they inform the team that a rescue team will be sent soon. They tell them to only come out of the subdimension around 2 p.m. For a check. The escaped member delivered the disheartening news that the monsters tore apart all their scrolls, resulting in the mission's failure. He revealed that the monster he encountered was a strange creature previously unknown. Following that, his condition deteriorated and he was taken to the hospital. While sitting there hopeless and devastated, one T's guild member informed him that the telepathy is still active and Yuna wants to say something to him. Repeating her words, he revealed that the battle is over and they have suffered a defeat. However, she urged them not to rush to their aid due to the abundance of supplies they possess. Finally, she vowed to return alive no matter what, and the connection abruptly ended. Faced with the dire situation, Wani diligently sought assistance from numerous hunters for a rescue operation, yet they all declined, well aware of the danger associated with the mission. While some labeled him insane for requesting such a favor, others found it unachievable. However, it was during this desperate search for help that the incident of the portal opening occurred, leading him to encounter Sangwoo. This makes Sangwoo realize why Wani wanted him to increase his stats. After providing all these details, Wanting discloses his plan to initiate the rescue operation the next day. Satisfied with their discussion, they conclude their meeting and agree to reconvene the following day. Meanwhile, the members of the Silver Moon Guild return to their leader Yang Jukil and inform him about the lost crystals. Enraged by their failure, Jiachul administers punishment, fully aware of the significant financial loss resulting from the missing crystals. He then inquires about Sangwoo's identity and they explain that except for him, all his companions were wearing masks and even he is not listed as a C or D class hunter. Realizing that they were defeated by an E class hunter, his anger intensifies further and he starts beating them severely. He states that they were not the only ones manufacturing the crystals, and failing to produce them by the due date would lead to a major financial loss. He commands them to swiftly locate and bring back Sangwoo, fully aware that accomplishing this task will prove exceedingly challenging for them. To ensure their success, Juchil dispatches the vice leader of the Silver Moon Guild, Kang Zion Song, to accompany them on their mission. Meanwhile, at Jam Agency, Sangwoo expresses his confusion to Jumbo regarding the reasons behind Want's guild venturing into a dungeon that had already been conquered by Jumper. They recalled Jumper stating in a press conference that the tower Odin has no treasure or precious items, only lurking monsters, thus entering it is equivalent to sacrificing one's life, prompting hunters to stop going there. As they share their opinions on this matter, they suddenly come across Ryan, who is sleeping at the agency entrance, exhausted from waiting for their arrival. Sangwoo informs Jumbo about Lion, who then wakes her up and takes them to a nearby restaurant for a meal there. As she is engrossed in eating, Sangwoo saves his number in her phone and asks if she came here to work for their agency, to which she agrees. Jumbo inquires about her skill, which she introduces as appraising items a little and making potions. Sangwoo makes fun of her, stating that her potions lead to death, to which she gets annoyed and tells him that not all potions are poisonous. Getting serious, Sangwoo praises her skill once again and expresses his desire to use her potions. Considering that Sangwoo wants to use the potions on his clones, Jumbo agrees to allocate funds for her to create them. Sensing that it is time to meet with Wanti, Sangwoo rises from his seat preparing to depart. However, just as he is about to leave, Yuion hands him 2 potions, one enhancing strength and the other augmenting mana, as a service for food. She also shares the side effects of potions, including melting muscles and exploding the body. Grateful for her contribution, Sangwoo leaves accompanied by his clones. The YOLO guild manager walks towards the warehouse. While talking to her senior on the phone, she tells them that she will contact them after transporting all the jewels to the Kineas Guild. However, as she enters the warehouse, she sees their guards lying dead on the ground. She runs inside to see the walls of the warehouse broken and all their jewels robbed. Enraged by the act, she activates her raider skill to detect if someone is hiding inside. After locating 3 people inside, she runs towards the warehouse only to be attacked by an invisible person from behind. Shocked to have been unable to detect him, she inquires who he is. Just then the person knocks her down and materializes in front of her. He turns out to be Kang Chaeyon Song, the vice captain of the Silver Moon Guild, who says that they need these jewels badly. With this, he enters the warehouse where his subordinates are done collecting all the jewels. In order to erase all evidence, Shin Seong sets the store obliges. Before leaving, he then decides to find the person who stole their jewel crystals. Meanwhile, Sangwoo and his clones travel to Iceland accompanied by the members of the Kindness Guild to initiate the mission. They land near the Valhalla portal, which connects the place to Odin's tower. As they reach there, the additional guild members guarding the place tell them to enter the portal right away, as Wanti eagerly awaits their arrival at the entrance. Meanwhile, In the guild camp, Want and his comrade discuss the incident of robbery at the YOLO guild. They express their surprise at someone being so daring to mess with a person like Hanmyo. Just then Sang-woo enters and they are overjoyed to see him, considering that the most awaited day has finally arrived. Wani provides him and his clones with warm coats to shield themselves from the harsh cold. Meanwhile, once he stands near Sang-woo, placing all his trust and hopes in him after establishing a successful connection with them, Sang-woo finds them confronting a fierce snowstorm which they'd barely managed to resist. After the storm is over, he notices them standing in the middle of a frozen valley with huge rocks of ice surrounding them. The frigid temperature inside the dungeon intensifies, surpassing the chilliness of the external environment. He tells his fellows that they have finally reached Odin's tower, bracing them for the challenges ahead. Sang-woo feels astonished at having complete control over number one's body, even making him move. This is the 17th level of his familiar skill, which enables him to do so. Leading the team, Sang-woo moves forward, determined to succeed in the rescue mission. While progressing, Sang-woo reads about the frost bats that they are likely to encounter at the mission's outset. Just as he is reading about those E-class monsters, a group of frost bats attacks them. Using their guns, they swiftly dispatch the bats and proceed to encounter their boss, a D-class monster. Using his short sword, Sang-woo kills the monster in an instant, surprising himself. After getting rid of all the bats, they continue their venture, moving deeper into the dungeon. Sang-woo and his clones continue their relentless battle against the frostbats until they cover a distance of 13 kilometers. According to the briefing, they anticipate encountering new monsters after reaching this distance. As they are discussing that they are suddenly attacked by a group of monsters resembling yetis, they skillfully employ mana-charged bullets to confront them head-on. Sang-woo strategically positions his clones at various angles for effective attacks, leading to their success. As they move at high speed, they successfully take them down, making Sang-woo believe that they can eliminate all of them if they maintain this approach. However, the ground beneath him suddenly cracks and a giant hand emerges, seizing him in its grasp. Meanwhile, Sang-woo remains in the tent, intricately linked to number one, bravely facing the perilous fight. The guild's vice captain expresses concern for his well-being, but Wana assures her that he will be fine. He tells her that he initially planned to secretly infiltrate the place and rescue the teen without confronting any monsters. However, Sang-woo's improvement in stats was remarkable, which made him a formidable force akin to a B-ranked hunter capable of accomplishing the mission with resounding success. Wanty also highlights the growth and strength of Sang-woo's clones, equating them to B-rank hunters, considering that their lost team had an average rank of B1. A view Sang-woo alone is equivalent to the entire team. He believes Sang-woo could have become even stronger if the jewels hadn't been stolen from the YOLO guild warehouse. They believe that with this power, Sang-woo can confront all the monsters on the first floor except for the ice golem. Want says that he informed Sang-woo about the ice golem, so he hopes that Sang-woo will avoid it and pass safely, despite knowing that it is hard to avoid it while passing that area. Meanwhile, in Ojin's tower, a colossal ice golem material S is before them, momentarily stunning Sang-woo. To defeat it, Sang-woo draws his short sword and inflicts a wound on number one's finger, causing blood to pour out and react with sword. As soon as the blood reacts with the sword, number one gains immense strength, which Sang-woo utilizes to strike the ice golem. However, to his surprise, Fishman's short sword fails to inflict any harm on it. Seeing this, he swiftly jumps down the monster's hand, considering that there is no other way to deal damage to it if the short sword has failed to affect it. To their astonishment, the monster, exhibiting a voracious appetite, starts devouring the yeti-like monsters aiming towards them. Afterwards, seeing this, they start to run in different directions to dodge the creature. Understanding the urgency, Sang-woo realizes he must target the creature's core as advised by Wantag. He searches for the monster's core and soon locates it. However, the challenge lies in finding a way to destroy that core. Despite their attempts, including the use of enchanted magic bullets, all their efforts prove futile. Suddenly, the monster charges of the clones, launching a surprise attack. Sang-woo instructs all of them to evade the attack, and they comply. In a swift maneuver, the monster manages to catch number 5, causing Sang-woo to worry about the teleport scroll he possessed. Then an idea sparks in his mind, and he rushes towards the monster, which is dangerously close to devouring numbers 0-5 entirely. Fearlessly leaping into the creature's mouth, number 1 successfully grabs the teleportation scroll from number 05. As the monster consumes him, the clones stand frozen in shock while Sang-woo jumps down from the monster's mouth and starts laughing. Observing the monster, he retrieves a torn piece of the teleport scroll, causing the monster's core to vanish. He reveals that while snatching the teleport scroll from number 5, he tore it, letting the monster consume half of it to teleport its core away. Just then, the core of the monster disappears, resulting in its rapid and utter destruction within a matter of seconds. Meanwhile, the monster's core material S is within the guild members' tent, leaving them in a state of perplexity as they behold its unexpected presence. This audacious feat of eliminating such a formidable adversary results in bolstering Sang-woo's strength and endurance, while also elevating his skill level. Consequently, he attains the ability to summon 7 clones simultaneously, leaving him overwhelmed with joy. However, in the present circumstance, Sang-woo opts not to summon the 7th clone, focusing instead on the continuation of their mission. Meanwhile, George Lucas receives a list of people seeking to meet him in the current month. Seeing that none of them is from any of the South Korean guilds, he gets frustrated and dismisses all requests, telling them to proceed with the academy inauguration ceremony. Simultaneously, the same hunter from Ujongsan Field sits in a house having lunch with his criminal friend. He tells him about being trapped in the dungeon by the Silver Moon Guild. He reveals that the High Sun Guild handed him over to them because he caused a problem in Treat. His friend asks how he managed to get out of the dungeon, to which he replies that he got some help. Changing the topic, his friend asks him to help their other fellow with some work after having lunch. Just then, the doorbell rings and his friend gets up to open the door. As soon as he opens the door, Silver Moon Guild members come dashing inside, followed by their vice captain. She looks in a hurry and comes straight to the point, asking him about the person who attacks their guild members. She Unsung informs him that he asked the same question from 2 people before him, but they said they did not know anything. He then reveals his hands stained with blood, signaling that both of them have already been killed. Chi Unsung then asks him whether he is aware of anything or not. His friend, who is enraged because of their entering his house and threatening them, rushes to attack Chanson. However, to his surprise, Chi Unsung proves even more powerful than him and easily blocks the attack, knocking him to the ground. Instead, seeing him holding such immense power, the hunter steps forward and asks them to stop, saying that he will come with them. In response, Chi Unsung attacks him as well and knocks him down, saying that he eventually had to come with them anyway. Meanwhile, the other guild members keep beating up his friend until he is on the verge of death, saying that it is punishment for his rude behavior. However, just as Chi Unsung is about to kill him, the hunter comes once again, saying that he knows the person they are after and imploring him to show some mercy. Meanwhile, Sangwoo's clones forge ahead on their expedition towards the trap team. On their way, they encounter the chilling sight of numerous lifeless bodies, both humans and monsters alike. They wonder why there are more dead bodies and no monsters in this area. Clueless about who might have killed them, Sangwoo asks about the location. One of his clones informs him that they are near their destination, considering that Sangwoo tells them to find traces of battle, implying the likelihood that Team 1 has concealed themselves in a subdimension close to the location of the conflict. While he is giving them directions to start the search, one of them abruptly detects a disturbance and swiftly unsheaths his sword, leaving him shocked. Taking out his weapon, the clone launches an attack while others turn to see what he is aiming at. Suddenly, a massive ice monster appears before them out of nowhere, making them wonder if its skill is invisibility. Just then, the creature begins to give a signal to its fellows, creating a loud sound as they struggle to comprehend the situation. An entire army of these elusive monsters materializes from all directions. This unravels the mystery of the numerous lifeless bodies scattered in the vicinity without any visible sign of the monsters. Sangwoo realizes why the team was unable to escape the dungeon. Just like other people who came before them, they enter the area without detecting the monster's presence. Eventually getting trapped, Sangwoo pulls out his sword and begins to fight, effortlessly slashing the monsters, making a route for their escape. However, as soon as they start getting the upper hand, the monsters start to disappear, making Sangwoo unable to see them. However, he notices that his clones are still able to effectively defend against their attacks. This leads him to relinquish control of Number 1's body and senses and observe how they do that. To his surprise, Number 1 runs in the monster's direction, telling others to make a way out, and wields his sword to kill the invisible monsters. As he does so, Sangwoo discovers that his clones rely on their acute perception of the monster's movements, discerning the subtle sounds of the wind as the creatures move, enabling them to successfully fend them off. Considering that, Sangwoo begins to realize that his clones are way too skilled for him to copy them fully at the moment, and he has a long way to go in order to do that. Meanwhile, within the subdimension, Eunice team members inform her that it is clock the time for them to venture outside in the hope of finding the rescue team. Hearing this, she gets up again, wanting to tell them to have some hope despite being hopeless herself, expecting same creepy silent ice field to greet her. Yuna musters the strength to step outside. However, as soon as she opens subdimension, she is taken aback to hear a sound reaching her ears. Meanwhile, the clones engage in a relentless battle against the snow monsters, tirelessly pushing forward as Sangwoo observes them. Even though the monsters are not that strong, the overwhelming number of them attacking from all sides while being invisible makes it difficult for them to continue fighting. Therefore, they decide to simply escape. Just then, Sangwoo catches sight of the subdimension and feels relieved to have found the team. He promptly instructs everyone to swiftly head towards the entrance. Witnessing this, Yuna gathers her team members at the entrance, informing them that she has caught sight of a human and heard certain sounds. As they all rush to investigate, they feel relieved to see that someone has finally come to rescue them. However, Yuna notices something else which fills her with shock. She alerts her teammates to the fact that the individual is accompanied by a complete army of monsters, leaving them all astounded. Meanwhile, Sangwoo approaches them and explains that he has arrived to rescue them but requires their assistance at the present moment. Upon hearing this, Yuna instructs her team to provide support and arm themselves for an attack. As the clones charge through the portal, the team swiftly launches a counter-attack on the monsters, using their magical arrows to defend the subdimension. Simultaneously, Sangwoo and his clones safely infiltrate the secure subdimension. Once inside, Yuna promptly seals the entrance, ensuring their safety. She then asks Sangwoo if he is a member of the Kinnis Guild, to which he replies that she is only partially correct. He reveals that he has been sent by Wanti, who has entrusted him with the task of saving them all. This realization reassures them that their master has not abandoned them. Yu then inquires about sighing to the team member who managed to escape the dungeon. Sangwoo informs her that although he is alive, he has yet to regain consciousness. This saddens Yuna, and Sangwoo realizes the depth of her care for her team. He suggests that they leave immediately since Wanti is anxiously waiting at the entrance. However, as he prepares to activate the teleportation scroll, he notices that Yuna does not look happy. He deduces that the people who went on the mission were 10, out of whom only 1 escaped, but the people currently present there are less than 9. At that moment, Yuna pleads for one final favor from Sangwoo. She explains that during their mission one of their team members was killed and she wishes to retrieve their comrade's body before they depart. This revelation helps him understand why they are only 8 now. He asked for details about what happened, and she recounts that their healer was brutally slain in an ambush immediately. Afterwards, she opened the subdimension and instructed the team aim to enter, although she herself wanted to fight. Considering that her death would leave her team members helpless, she had to back off. Just then she used a teleport scroll to report to their guild. However, during that chaotic situation, one monster managed to slip into the subdimension and injured Zion, tearing all the teleport scrolls. The last portal that opened at that time closed before all the team members could get in. Hearing this, Sangwoo asks where the corpse of their team member lies. Yuna opens the subdimension and tells him about her location, which seems much farther away than their present location. Sangwoo understands the futility of this endeavor, considering that there is no possibility of reaching such a location without encountering any monsters. However, aware that Yuna has adamantly refused to lead without retrieving the fallen comrade's remains, he reluctantly agrees to assist them. However, he proposes 2 conditions for that. First, if the mission seems dangerous, they will depart immediately, leaving the body, to which she agrees. Secondly, he instructs the team to remain inside the subdimension while they undertake the task. Yuna does not want them to undertake such a difficult task, stating that she only wants their help and does not want to put them in danger. Upon this, Sangwoo assures her that nothing can happen to them since they are only clones and not real humans. This revelation leaves the team in a state of profound disbelief and astonishment. Meanwhile, the members of the Silver Moon Guild arrive at the JM agency, meticulously searching it. Meanwhile, Kyan Song subjects Gamo to torture in an attempt to extract information about Sangwoo. Despite the brutality inflicted upon him, Jomo steadfastly refuses to disclose any details. Determined to uncover Sangwoo's whereabouts, they keep torturing him until one of his guild members finds some documents containing comprehensive information about Sangwoo. With the crucial details in hand, they dispatch people to track down Sangwoo with the mentioned address. While they take Jumbo with them, Lion, who happens to witness all this, is deeply shocked by the arrival of Silver Moon Guild members at the JM agency. While she is listening to their conversation, Jimo inquires about the purpose behind their search for Sangwoo. Upon this, Kyan-san reveals that Sangwoo fought with their guild members, stole all their gem crystals, and fled. Yuian's shock intensifies as she realizes that the guild members hold Sangwoo responsible for the theft that she has committed. A sense of urgency surges through her mind, and she knows she has to take action. Meanwhile, Sangwoo, controlling number 1's body, explains his plan to everyone. He assigns 2 of his clones the responsibility to guard the entrance, while the remaining 2 accompany him on the mission to retrieve the body. He tells them never to come out no matter what, and refuses to accept their help in the mission, stating that their safety is his greatest priority. Yuna reminds him that it was her team that saved them when they were escaping the monsters earlier, but he explains that he had other plans for that time as well. He asked her to trust him and stay inside, to which she agrees. Sangwoo reveals that during his 6 months of training he acquired a unique skill called Monster Devour. This skill allows him to absorb the essence of monsters, granting him a portion of their stats. This is the reason behind the overwhelming surge in his stats. However, he does not plan to stop there and continues his pursuit of power. He tells Yuna that he is ready for the mission and instructs the clones to follow him, entrusting number 4 with his sword and the potion provided by Yuan. Sangwoo instructs him to quickly return to the subdimension. After retrieving the body, Yuna informs him that the monsters remain still in their locations until they find prey, so she advises him to be cautious since the monsters he brought with him are still outside. Once all the arrangements are made, Sangwoo leaves the subdimension with his clones to retrieve the corpse. After a brief search, they locate the lifeless body, only to be assaulted by numerous ice monsters, obstructing their path. Meanwhile, the 2 clones continue to regard the entrance and warn the team to stay away from it. Seeing the clones venturing alone, the team members feel indecisive about whether they should have helped. However, Yoon assures them that they should trust Sangwoo's plans and wait here patiently. Meanwhile, Sangwoo fights the invisible monsters, gaining much more mastery over the skill than before, instructing his clones to ignore the monsters and proceed directly to the corpse. Sangwoo stops there and engages in combat with the vicious creatures unexpectedly. Additional monsters emerge from behind the shield surrounding them. Witnessing this, Sangwoo decides to have number 1 consume the strength potion provided by Yeon. As he administers the potion, Sangwoo experiences a tremendous surge of power within number 1's body, causing him to go berserk. Utilizing his magical bullets, he unleashes a barrage of attacks, effectively clearing a path for the other 2 clones to reach the coveted corpse. Finally reaching their objective, they carefully place the lifeless body in a. However, the side effects of the strength potion begin to manifest in number 1's body, bringing him to the brink of explosion. Faced with this dire situation, number 1 urges his fellow clones to flee while he draws the attention of the persistent monsters acting upon his advice. They swiftly make their escape and enter the subdimension. Meanwhile, more and more monsters keep approaching Number 1, launching vivacious attacks on him while he sees his fellows going away in the subdimension. The clone tears the teleport scroll, opening a portal, stating that they should not worry about Number 1 since he is just a clone. Seeing the subdimension disappear, Number 1 smiles, hoping to meet them on the other side of the portal when his body explodes, leading to the monsters being killed. With this mass-killing, Sangwoo's Devour skill leads to a massive absorption of the monster's essence, leading to a significant rise in his stats. Meanwhile, in the hospital, Sangta, a member of the assault team who managed to escape the Dun engine, slowly begins to recover. Simultaneously, within the Kenya skill tent, a portal material SS causing a mixture of excitement and worry among them. Just then a hand emerges from the portal, triggering Wanti's recollection of a similar incident 6 months ago when the portal materialized and returned a nearly deceased team member. Contemplating this, he closes his eyes and holds his heart, bracing for the possibility of something negative. As he slowly opens his eyes, he catches a glimpse of his lost sister's reflection staring at him in disbelief. Witnessing her alive and well, a smile involuntarily appears on his face and he questions whether she is truly returned. Meanwhile, Sangwoo deactivates his familiar skill, feeling utterly exhausted. Opening his eyes, he witnesses the long-awaited reunion between Wanti and his sister, both overwhelmed with emotions at seeing each other again. As they meet, a profound sense of relief washes over them and they express how deeply they missed one another. This reunion evokes a mix of emotions, leaving everyone present feeling both moved and happy simultaneously. Seongti regains consciousness in the hospital while the guild members start packing their belongings in preparation for their departure from Iceland. Amidst all this, Number 4 returns the teleport scroll and sword to Sangwoo, who begins assessing the growth of his statistics following the successful mission. Just then Wanti and Yuna approach him, expressing heartfelt gratitude for his crucial assistance during their dire circumstances. Sangwoo receives their appreciation humbly. Want assures him that they will always stand by his side and offer support whenever he finds himself in need or trouble. Sangwoo then returns the teleport scroll to Wanti, mentioning that it was the only one left unused during the mission. In a gesture of gratitude, Wanti insists that Sangwoo would keep it along with the unused expedition items as a way to repay his debt. However, overcome by shyness, Sangwoo declines the offer, a decision he later deeply regrets. As Wanti and Yuna walk away, they discuss the uniqueness and rarity of Sangwoo's skill, believing that he has potential to become even stronger in the future. Exiting the Valhalla portal's entrance, the group heads towards their plane with the intention of returning to South Korea. Sangwoo inquires if Wanti will be busy after their return, to which he mentions the need to get the team's health checked and prepare for a funeral upon regaining access to the long-lost mobile network. Sangwoo's phone becomes flooded with messages from Ye, and she informs him about the raid on the JM agency by the Silver Moon Guild and the subsequent capture of Jummo. Outraged by this news, Sangwoo urgently seeks out Wanti to inform him of the situation and stresses the need for an immediate departure. Responding swiftly, Wanda once again offers Sangwoo the teleportation scroll, suggesting that he use it to reach there faster. Meanwhile, Yan, following the Silver Moon Guild members in her pursuit of locating Jungle, arrives at a heavily fortified warehouse under their control. While awaiting Sangwoo's arrival, she unexpectedly finds herself confronted by one of the guild members who questions her presence. However, before she can respond, Sangwoo intervenes abruptly, emerging from a portal created by the teleportation scroll. That's
it for today. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.